Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Albums. We have in the co-captain's chair, Mr. Rand Kelly from the West Coast. We got East and West Coast connection going on here today. What's up, Rand? How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You look better than me, man. You look all comfy with that pillow behind you. You got your dog next to you. It's like I'm sitting. He's got his Sea of Tranquility whale shirt on, one of my favorites. That's a David spectacular right there, David.
I love it.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I wear that one quite a bit. For a while there, my favorite was the dragonfly, but then I think the whale has become my favorite. In the
I
process,
might get the dragonfly.
the dragonfly is really cool too. It's nice and colorful. I like it's got the Roger Dini look to it. It's pretty cool. But I do like the whale one. So today, so last night, so George Lamy and I did Vandenplas, a very cool German progressive metal band. Now we're going to travel throughout Europe a little bit, and we're going to go over to Scandinavia, to Norway, and Rand and I are going to rank the albums of Wobbler. Now, Wobbler is a band that has been around. Yes, they wobble quite a bit. A band has been around. Their debut album came out in 2005. They kind of took the prog world by storm, much in a way that Anglagard did about a little over a decade before, playing music that is just absolutely influenced by the greats that we all love. I mean, you listen to Wobbler's music, and you can hear bits of Yes, and you can hear bits of King Crimson and Genesis and Gentle Giant and Premiata Fornario Marconi, otherwise known as PFM. You can hear a little bit of Anglagard. You know, all the stuff we love, Mellotrons and flutes and Hammond and Moog and electric guitar, acoustic guitar, 12-string guitar, Rickenbacker bass, drums, saxophone, high-pitched John Anderson style vocals. I just kind of, those are all the boxes we just ticked off, right?
Yeah.
But long songs, not a boring moment on any of these albums. And, Rand, let's do what we talked about. I mean, literally could take any of these CDs and just throw them up in the air, and however they land, that's how we rank them, because this catalog is that damn good. Just mix and match them any day of the week. Any of these could be number one. I mean, we kind of had to do the homework and put them in an order, but I was telling Rand before we went on the air that I look back on all of my reviews for these albums on seatranquility.org, and every single one of them was a 4.5 or 5 out of 5 star. So that means basically almost every album is near perfect. It's hard to rank. So literally
very hard to rank.
So this is just basically here's what's so great about all these albums, and if you don't have any of them, go out and get them all. That's the best thing I can tell you to do, because they're all really good. If you love classic symphonic 70s style progressive rock with a kind of European flair, it doesn't get much better than this. They're one of the best bands to me that have come out in the last 15-20 years that played this type of classic style prog rock, and they keep getting better. So with all that being said, I'll have Rand kick us off with his number 5.
Okay. Like he said, it was very hard to do these. Like, their best album or their worst album is a 4 or 5 out of 5. So what could you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so I picked Afterglow, which is their second. And this came in a really weird digipack where they sliced it in the sides like this. I'm not a real fan of that because it's hard to pull them out. So I just put it in one of those thin glass case or plastic cases, jewel cases, and stuck it in a plastic bag is all I did. But anyways, enough of that. I can't even see these titles. I don't know the songs that well, I got to tell you. There's one on here, the fourth one from the end, called In Taberna. That is just mind-boggling. It's like Gentle Giant on acid. It's so good. But the album comes in last because the other songs aren't anywhere near that one, in my opinion. So, yeah, Afterglow. A great way to start on the band, I think. It was the second one I ever heard. I had heard these 3 songs on an EP. There's 3 songs, but they changed the title to one of them. So it was kind of confusing, but I finally figured it out what they did. In Taberna was the one they changed the title. It was called something else on the EP.
Cool.
But yeah, I love this band. I mean, God, there's two bands out of Norway that I absolutely adore, and it's Wobbler and A Spiral Architect.
Well, yeah, we all wish they were still around, right?
One and done.
Yeah, one and done. One of the best one and dones of all time.
Oh my God.
My number 5 is also Afterglow. And the only reason why this is number 5 is because it's only like 30 minutes long. It's like it's barely over 30 minutes, and it's a great 31 minutes or whatever the hell it is. And it's their second album. I wish there was more. So this is the only one that got kind of cool stuff inside here, good artwork. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the little kind of flimsy thing here. But the only reason it's number 5 is because it's not long enough, and the others are all 5 out of 5s. This is 4.5, and I literally gave it a 4.5 on the website when it first came out because there was just not much here. What's here is great. Imperial Winter White is the big 15-minute epic on there. Fantastic. You can hear a little Anglegar, a little Gentle Giant, a little King Crimson, a little Genesis, a little Tull, maybe a little Griffin. All the influences, they wear them on their sleeves. They don't make any bones about it. You got Hammond, Mellotron, flute, guitar, man, it's great. In Taberna, like you mentioned, is the other big epic. Basically, the album is the 2 epics. That's really what you get. Then you get 3 shorter tunes, which don't really amount to much of anything. But you mentioned Gentle Giant on steroids. Absolutely on In Taberna. I would throw in some Angleguard as well. I like the kind of herky-jerky movements of the arrangement, which I think reminds me of Angleguard a little bit. Like I said, it's all about those 2 big epics. The rest of the songs are kind of inconsequential, but it's still great. It's just something's got to be at the bottom, and this is to me, the only glaring one that could come in at number 5. So.
That album cover will freak you out if you stare at it long enough.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, absolutely. It's weird as all hell. I don't know how.
I thought it was a helicopter, and it turns out it's one of those ski lift things that you ride on.
Well, because it does look like a helicopter. If you look at it briefly, it's one of those album covers where if you look at it quickly, you think you're seeing all sorts of weird shit. And then you start really looking at it, you're like, oh, that's not what I thought it was. So pretty genius, I think. It's
kind of like Salvador Dali.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. So again, I don't know how well folks can see, but
it looks good to me.
There's a lot of wacky stuff going on there. And again, to the quick glance, I absolutely thought there was a helicopter as well. And then you look at it, you're like, no, that's
and
not.
The guy's naked.
Yes. Yeah.
Assuming he's wearing shorts, but you can't tell.
And then you got this other thing, which at first I thought was kind of like a carrot man, and it's actually not at all. What it is, I have no idea. It's just all sorts of weird stuff going on here. Yeah,
who knows?
And what it has to do with Afterglow, the title, I don't know, but it's
I don't either.
Nonetheless. And and I probably should name the guys. Well, I was going to name the guys in the band, but I think they've had a couple lineup changes. But here you've got, oh boy, I'm going to butcher this. Morten Andreas Eriksson on guitars, all sorts of different guitars. And I love how when they name all the different guitars. So you got Gibson SG, Gibson Explorer, Fender Telecaster, Stratocaster, Dan Electro, so on and so forth. You got Lars Fredrik Frostley on Mellotrons, Hammond organ, piano, mini Moog, ARP Pro Soloist, and all sorts of other stuff, Fender Rhodes. You got Christian Carl Holtzgren on Rickenbacker, 4001 bass, Fender Jazz bass, double bass, acoustic bass, Martin Nordrum Kneppen on Yamaha drums, and you got Tony Johansson on vocals, Ketil Vestrum Enarsson on flutes, alto flute, piccolo flute, Ajay Maltke Shu on vibraphone, glockenspiel and percussion, and Siren Eng on cello. And again, not all those guys were the main guys in the band. They had a bunch of guests, but it's mostly been a 4-piece, I think, in this band. But this was the second album, so this was 2009. I think they've had a couple lineup changes since then. But I'll try to update each album as we go on with the lineup. So number 4, back to Red.
Yeah, that was a strange way to go about start with the EP and then put those 3 songs on the second album. I guess it was kind of like the other thing had kind of disappeared and they couldn't find it. I think that was,
Yeah, and then they I think they redid these songs, right? That's for the album. So
where the hell is Hinterland? Where
there
does
it
that
is.
where does that exist? Isn't there another album that has that artwork, an Italian
Well, that
band?
was yeah, Michael Bennett. So he did a bunch of things. He did Il Trono dei Ricordi. He did the Wizards album. He
Oh,
did
I love Accordo. I love Accordo del
yep.
Contrary. Is that
He
what
did a
you're talking about?
triggering. He did that a triggering myth album too. He's a great artist. I don't know where he kind of disappeared. He was doing a lot of the artwork for a lot of those Laser's Edge albums, and then he just like kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. So I don't know. I miss his artwork.
Well, the title cut on Hinterland. I'm sorry. The title cut on Hinterland is, it starts out absolutely phenomenal, kind of like Interburna. And then about 1 minute in, they kind of go into like a Pink Floyd vibe for like 10 minutes. And it's like a 25-minute song. And then it
27.
goes into all kinds of different things. Mellotron galore. This band loves Mellotron.
Oh yeah.
So do I, as a matter of fact. But this tune called Rubato Industry is insane. I really love this song. Like I said, there's no bad Wobbler. You can't go wrong. And be careful, like when you go on looking for these guys, especially on streaming services like Amazon or Tidal or Spotify, there's another band out there called Wobbler, and they're like a hip hop group or something. So don't ever,
really? I didn't know that.
like, don't ever dial into the one that's got the fish, you know, the wobbler thing on for fishing. It's kind of a ball with and it's between the hook and the fishing rod, and it bobbles on the water. If you see that with a fish with a hook in the mouth, that's not this band.
Wow.
Avoid at all costs. I tried it out. I went, oh, horrible. I hate it when you got double band names. Don't you hate that when there's double band names?
I know.
It's so confusing. Like, you know, there's another Glass Hammer out there, and they're just like a plain old rock band.
Oh, I didn't know that.
How do they get away with that? Yeah, I saw it on Amazon. Amazing. But anyway, this is their debut album, Hinterland, and it is really, really good. I think it'd be a perfect place to start, because a lot of people did, and like you said, 2005 or something, 6.
2005, yeah.
Yeah, this is a really great album. Wobbler, Hinterland. First album, debut.
Cool. All right, I'm going to go number 4. I'm going to go Rights at Dawn from 2011. So this is their third album. Another really good one. Man, tremendous vocal harmonies on this album. Instrumentation throughout is just great. Again, all the usual suspects here. We've got the Rickenbacker bass and the Mellotron and the Moog and Fender Rhodes. There's the guys in the band that year. What do we got? In Orbit, great epic track. These guys do epic tracks really, really well. The River is another one. I love the production on this album too. It's just really warm and inviting, which I think all their albums kind of have. I gave this a 5 out of 5 back in 2011. I mean, that's how great this catalog is. That a 5 that is coming in at number 4 here, but just amazing. And I got to say, the Rickenbacker, and I forget his name. What the hell is his name? The bass player. And the writing on this CD is so damn small. I'm probably not going to be able to read it. Geez, what is his name? Hold on, people. Okay. Christian Carl Houtgren on Rickenbacker bass. Amazing. He's such a good player. And he's just got that. If you love like classic Chris Squire and Geddy Lee, that whole type of thing, just fantastic stuff. And he's amazing on La Beltane, which is another great song on here. Again, here you have 7 tracks. A little bit more songs on this one than some of the latter ones, which are big epics all the way. But yeah, this is great. If you want to start off at Rights at Dawn, I wouldn't question that at all. It's a great one. So that's my number 4.
It was a great what do you call it? Step above Afterglow, and it took a while to come out. I was really surprised. Kind of thought they were gone, and then all of a sudden I saw it on maybe Symphonic Greg Walker catalog or something, and I ended up getting it. from somebody.
Yeah,
Oh, what did I do?
there you go.
What he said, folks, and more. This sounds so much like Yes. And I mean Yes from like Fragile and Close to the Edge, and not really Relayer, but yeah. And you were saying about the production being great. I was thinking of Eddie Offord or Alan Parsons. It is very nice.
Isn't it kind of warm though? Like, I mean, I hate to, it's so cliched to say it, but you listen to this band and I listen to the production and the way the albums are recorded, and it just kind of, you feel like you're in Norway and you're in a cabin, it's snowing outside, you're in the middle of the woods and you're listening to this band, and you got the fire going in the fireplace and you got like a glass of wine or whatever, and you're just kind of sitting around and listening to this wonderful music. That's what I get. And it's like there's like and you mentioned how much it sounds like classic Yes, and it does, but there's like this pastoral part of this band that I guess maybe like Trespass era Genesis, which is kind
Oh
of
yeah,
adds that
Anthony
extra
Phillips.
element. Like it's not like I mean, that's the problem when you have a band like this that has all these influences and you can hear all of them. And just when you think that you've figured it out, and you're like, all right, yeah, this is like, I mean, you said it sounds a lot like Yes, and it does, but not 100%, because you have these other things coming in. Like there's the emotional aspect, which you get from like the Italians, right? Like PFM or Abanco. There are moments of dissonance and, like aggression of like a King Crimson. There's the bouncy playfulness of a Gentle Giant. There's this complexity and virtuosity of Yes, and the vocals don't, also really stick out like that. So it's like, it's almost like you have to mention every single one of these influences, but yet they sound like themselves, and they have a Scandinavian feel to them.
Yeah.
I can't get away from. There's something about I hate to keep using the warm and inviting, but that's when I listen to this band, that's what I feel. I just feel it's like a comforting sound. Yeah, influences all over the place, but they still sound like Wobbler. I don't know.
It's like you're walking. It's like you're walking in the freezing winter snow, and you get to your friend's cabin, and they got a fire going, and give you a cup of hot chocolate.
And this is playing, right? Hot chocolate. You pull a blanket up, you're sitting there, and you just listen to this, and it's like, oh, and the Mellotron and the Hammond and the Rickenbacker and all the different kind of guitars and the flutes, and it's just like, oh man, this is
that is one of their more what do you call it? Divested musical outputs. I mean, it's they didn't sit in one kind of one tube, but they were all over the place as far as possibilities of tonal contribution, I guess that word is. But yeah, acoustic, electric, Moog, Mellotron, Rickenbacker bass, massive vocal magic. Just they got like, man, oh my God. It's like they're the Beach Boys vocals on an Anecdote album. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And it's like they're right next door to Sweden. There he goes, oh yeah, you guys are, you think, we'll do it too. We're going to do it too. There's been a few Norwegian bands. I mean, White Willow, I saw them at Progfest 95. And they were
White Willow, great. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's great stuff. So
okay.
Number 3.
Here comes the shock. Actually, it's 4, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to 4.
4? Well, I already got 2 that I've done, so we should be a 3, right? Yeah, because you did Afterglow in the first album.
Well, so what happened was I threw up Rites at Spring and let you do all the talking.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you're all right.
So I kind of. So is it it's your turn?
Is it?
Yeah, because I was talking about Rites of Spring, and that was my gig, I think.
So what have you covered so far? So your number 5 was
I've done Afterglow, Hinterland, and Rites of Spring.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so
it's your turn, Pete.
Gotcha. Okay.
We got to keep you on the straight.
I got the olds, man. What can I tell you?
Oh yeah, right. I'll be 70 next September.
Catching up to you, Rand. I'm catching up to you. All right. So my number 3 is going to be From Silence to Somewhere, 2017. Glorious album.
Oh my
They're the
God.
guys in the band. So now it's officially a 5-piece, I guess. Only 4 tracks, 20 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, and 13 minutes, right? So this is the
I think they
4th album.
changed guitar players on that album.
I believe so. So let's all right, before I get into the tracks, let me just see if I can read the lineup here. So we got Lars Frederick Froisley, and he's on Hammond, Mellotron, Mini Moog, Chamberlain. Oh, Jesus, Fender Rhodes. I mean, Selena String Ensemble, ARP Pro Soloist, so on, Wurlitzer, so on and so forth. We got Christian Carl Kultgren on bass and bass pedals, Martin Nordrum Kneppen on drums, Marius Halland on 6 and 12 electric and acoustic guitars, backing vocals, and Andreas.
Yeah, that's the new guy.
Stroman Presmo on vocals, electric and acoustic guitars, glockenspiel, percussion, and all sorts of other stuff. And I mean, I got to show this because it doesn't get more Norwegian looking than that. Kind of creepy looking, actually, but pretty cool.
That reminds me of an Enid cover called Airy Fairy Nonsense.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, they got a picture of a lady underneath the ocean in around the shells and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful photo. I'll have to send it to you. It's really nice.
Kind of reminds me of an Engelgard type of thing too, but man, this is a great album. Again, this could be number 1. I mean, it's just so good. All killer, no filler. You got the 21-minute title track, which is gargantuan. I mean, you just got the classic keyboards all over the place. The guitars are amazing. If you love PFM, Genesis, Yes Tull, King Crimson, Gentle Giant, you will love this song. Foxlight is tremendous as well. That's like 13 minutes, closes out the album. Kind of more pastoral though, whereas the other song is more bombastic. This has got flutes and recorders. I throw Griffin out there because they utilize that stuff quite a bit. Fermented Hours is the 10-minute long track. Fast and Furious. Like I said, this could be higher, but this is another 5 out of 5. I mean, amazing album. Amazing album. You can't go wrong.
Oh yeah.
From Silence to Somewhere from 2017. My number 3. Back to you.
Okay.
Nothing like lists on the fly, right?
I get so confused on the count sometimes. I could have done a mulligan on these last 2. It's so difficult. I look, they're calling it a Pardo now. Did you notice that?
I know that. Yeah. See what I'm
Oh, by the way, I just want to say I watched that In the Frog Seat last night, and Anthony Ferraro said Eddie Jobson twice, and you guys only drank once.
Hey, he must have slipped that by and we didn't catch it. Yeah, I caught the first one though. In fact,
he said something about, well, I saw Eddie Jobson.
Well, because he mentioned the band, and I'm like, and who's in that band? I made him say it because he got to go there, right? So
yeah, I saw that band too, but it wasn't. Who did he say was playing drums? I saw him with Marco Minimum. Got to meet him too. Really nice guy.
I think he said he saw him at Marco because he was talking about Marco was on part of the tour and Wackerman was on the other part of the tour, something like that, depending on where you saw them, I guess.
Maybe. I don't remember. But anyways, at any rate, they were phenomenal. I mean, I've seen UK twice and wow. And I miss John Wetton so much. It's just, George mentioned the District 97 last night, the Trouble with Machines, and he didn't even bring up. I mean, I'm not criticizing George. I love George, but I was thinking he was going to bring up the fact that Perfect Young Man is a duet with John Wetton, and he never brought it up. So that's why I'm bringing it up now, because
there you go.
If there's any Crimson fans out there, or Asia fans that want to hear John Wetton in a different kind of atmosphere, that song.
Yeah, isn't that the album too, where they got the bonus disc that has all the live stuff with Wetton playing with the band? Yeah, which was, I mean, that was a good match, him with that.
Oh, One More Red Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I need to get that as a matter.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Okay, here we go. This is my number 2, and I think most people might be able to figure out why I did that, but I mean, God, this album is insane. It's so good. I heard Five Rooms because they released that before the album, and I couldn't stop listening to it. Five Rooms, I will go on record and tell you that's the best song this band ever did, because it it's just everything you ever wanted out of a prog song. I hesitate to kind of like do a comparison to other bands or other songs, but oh my God, it's like Sound Chaser again with like Gentle Giant or Anglagard doing the music. It's just Five Ribs is insane. In fact, their very beginning of the tune, where when the guy starts singing, kind of reminds me of Roundabout. Did you feel that too?
Well, I mean, it's got that bass lick, right? I mean, it's
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, we could use this Chris Squire lick I learned about 20 years ago or something. Yeah,
And by the
this
way,
is.
and Rand didn't mention it, but that is Dwellers of the Deep from 2020. And if you
Oh
watched
yeah,
the Dog Seat last night, you'll know my thought about how much I love that album.
yeah, that's probably why I did what I did. But yeah, I forgot to say Dwellers of the Deep. Yes, I love the cover though. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Anyway, that's what it looks like. This is the latest album. This came out just before 2021 started. It was like what, November, December or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Kind of late. And Five Rooms, they were playing that back in August or September. They've been releasing, like a lot of the prog bands have been releasing like a single early, like the new Jethro Tull. I really like that, by the way.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're up.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna go back to the debut Hinterland for my number two. I still have a soft spot for this album because I remember when this came out, I was like, where's this band been all my life? Well, obviously they were a new band, so they weren't anywhere. But I completely fell in love with this, and I remember Ken Golden was like, "This is going to be the next really, really great band," and it came out on his label, obviously. And I love the artwork. I think it's spectacular. I mean, it's lush, it's complex, it's warm and inviting, right? You got the massive 27-minute title track, which has just got amazing stuff on it. You mentioned Rubato Industry is so good. Claire Obscure is the closer, which is also awesome. Mellotron galore all over this album. Loved loads of Hammond, loads of Moog, loads of Rickenbacker. You got sax on this album, all sorts of guitars, acoustic, electric. I love the vocals. I think it's just an amazing nod to the 70s. By a really great Norwegian band, and this is where it all started, and I still love it. So I have a soft spot for this album. You could arguably say that everything they've released after it might even be better, but sometimes that first one you hear, you kind of hold near and dear to your heart. So I will always love this album quite a bit. So Hinterland, number two for me.
I don't know how this band composes this stuff. I mean, I know a lot of bands are incredible and everything, but there's something about this band when I'm listening to it very closely and I'm going, how did they think of this?
Yeah.
How did it come to them? I mean, it's not like they're like Zappa where they're writing it out on paper. I don't think, I think they just turn the tape recorder on and just start playing and then just record everything and then somehow put it all together when they, want to call it a song.
Yeah.
But oh my God. Yeah, talent, unbelievable. Okay, so everybody knows my number one is From Silence to Somewhere, which is really weird because I got this last. This was, I've been listening to Hinterland since it came out, and Afterglow since it came out, and Rights at Dawn. Sometimes I call it Rights at Spring, and I made that mistake today. But anyways,
although didn't they play it? I've been trying to remember. I know I saw them once. I don't remember if they played it Nearfest or Rosfest. I think they played
it was Rites of Spring.
I thought so because I only went to one and they played it that because I remember they
and then they released the album and it was said Rights at Dawn and I read it as Rights at Spring.
Yeah.
So weird.
They actually played with it because they played and Magic Pie both played at the same festival and they were both from Norway, obviously. So yeah.
Oh, yeah,
cool.
here's another picture of the guys. This looks like a very gloomy, doomy day
Yeah,
in Norway.
got the umbrellas and everything.
Got to be freaking cold up there, man.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, yeah, this first song, Silence to Somewhere, is just so good. But like I said, I could have pulled a double first, because this one and Dwellers are, I mean, it's like even Steven, I think.
Neck and neck, yeah, I know. Yep.
But God, you guys, you prog fans that you love Anecdote and Engelgard and bands like that, you got to get everything Wobbler did. And what's odd is they've been around for 15 years, 16 years.
Yep.
No live album. I can't find much of them on YouTube. They don't do concerts. I don't think this band's touring, which is probably why they don't have a live album.
Yeah, not that I know of. I think they played a couple festivals here and there, but have any of them been recorded? Not that I know of.
Beats me. I mean,
they were great live too, but
get asked. So they never played a Near Fest then. Wow.
It's a shame, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but we have the albums, and that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
All about. Yeah.
Anyway, and the music just keeps delivering over and over and over. You always hear something new that you didn't hear before. I didn't hear that before. Like when you mentioned saxophone, I'm going, saxophone? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, there's a little bit of sax on that first album. Yeah, which is kind of neat, right?
Yeah. Well, my life was way different back when Hinterland came out. I had a job. I had people around me all the time. I wasn't in a place that I owned or anything like that. Didn't have much privacy. And it's hard to get into albums like this when there's distractions.
Yeah, true.
And these days, so I went and I got Silence to Somewhere when you said you wanted to do this. Then I went out and bought it. So it's funny. I picked my number one as the most recent that I got, but that's how good it is. And I was going mainly on the title cut, which is just
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so good.
Well, much like Rand, my number one is the most recent one that I got, and it's the most recent one they released. Dwellers of the Deep 2020. Ooh. Amazing. Again, only 4 tracks. I find the arrangements on this album a little busier than some of the other albums, which are more atmospheric and pastoral. I think, to me, this album through and through, from the vocals to the arrangements, have much more of like a Yes, Gentle Giant thing going on than the kind of older Genesis kind of feel. What do we have? It sounds like a ray gun or something like that. But yeah,
that was weird.
By the Banks is awesome. 5 Rooms is absolutely amazing, like Rand mentioned. Naiad Dreams is so good. It's kind of that is like the one kind of folky pastoral thing on here. And then you got Mary Macabre, which is nearly 20 minutes long. Roaring Hammond organ, tremendous guitar work. This whole album is just a great nod to the 70s giants, and absolutely flawless album. But I think you could say every one of these albums is pretty flawless and spectacular. So for those of you watching who have never listened to this band, you want to know where to start, pick anyone.
Shuffle them.
Whatever you can buy, go. It's just,
yeah,
they're that good.
And don't wait, because things go up. I missed out on a lot of those Jethro Tull box sets. Thick as a Brick is going for $700.
Oh yeah, I know, it's crazy. I went the other day because I have not to go into a totally different tangent, but I have This Was, Stand Up, Passion Play, Minstrel in the Gallery, Too Old to Rock and Roll, Heavy Horses, Stormwatch, Aqualung, and now Benefit. And I went the other day because I really, really want Songs from the Wood, and it's like freaking $300.
Yeah,
copy. I didn't even bother looking at Thick as a Brick anymore because that's been so much money for a long period of time, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had those. Maybe someday. Maybe someday if I don't know when I would have that kind of money just laying around, I could spend on a freaking box set, but I would love to complete the collection of all of them because they're so good. But,
are we still recording?
Yes, we are. Oh. Yes, we are, Rand. We are still recording. So the moral of the story is go out and get these Wobbler CDs while you still can, because as Rand said, a lot of these prog albums that have been released over the last 2-3 decades, they don't stay in print very long.
No.
Got the last couple have been on Charisma Records, so you can go over to their website to check out that. But a couple Termo Records are a few of them, and the first one was on Laser's Edge. So the last 3 on Charisma, a couple on Termo, and 1 on, or no, 2 on Charisma, 1 on Laser's Edge. I don't know. Anyway, go look for them if you can find them. They're amazing.
I would recommend getting the older ones first, like Hinterland and Afterglow and Rise at Dawn, just because it seems like the older they are, the more they cost. If you go onto eBay, newer albums are cheaper than old ones.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, they don't print up a lot of these, unfortunately. So once they're gone, they're gone. So get them. These are well worth your time. Like I said, every one of them is 4.5 or 5 out of 5 star. That good. Just,
Another band we could throw on there too is Happy the Man. Their drummer plays a lot like that guy on Happy the Man.
Yeah, true.
Rick Kennel. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, another great classic band. So there you have it, everybody. Ranking the albums of Wobbler from Norway, Wobbler. 5 albums, all 5 are classic. Go check them out. We told you so. Yeah.
Trust us.
Yeah, exactly. If you are a fan, rank them as you like them in the comments below. But I think more importantly, if you've never listened to these guys, please go do so and come back and report down in the comments and let us know what you think. It's not often I say that every album is a must-hear album, and I'm gonna go to bat right now and say this band is a must-hear band. They are one of my favorite prog bands that have come out over the last 15-20 years, and just drop dead classics. But you gotta love the 70s. That's what it's all about. And there are going to be people, I'm sure, who are going to be like, oh, but are they really doing anything new? Maybe not. But who cares? This is the type of stuff we love. When all of our classic bands aren't making music like this anymore, I'm happy to have a band like this. That's what it comes down to.
Oh my God, yeah. They're so good.
So stay tuned. In about a week or a week and a half, Rand and I will be back together. We're going to rank our top 10 favorite Glass Hammer albums. And again, Glass Hammer has been asked for by many people. They have a gargantuan discography, so we have made the executive decision to just do our top 10, but that's another band that has mostly very, very strong albums. But we're going to give you 19 in total. So we're going to give you our 10 favorites, and I think we're pretty sure Rand and I will have all sorts of different albums in our top 10, which I think is pretty cool. So that's coming up probably shortly after the Thanksgiving holiday here in the States. So stay tuned for that, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here. Where are we all the time, Rand?
All the damn time on YouTube.
That's right. There you go. All the damn time. So
you set me up.
Sorry. For Rand Kelly, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please go out and listen to Wobbler, and we'll see you here on YouTube.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.